Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Let's talk today and continue the conversation on the stages or phases that a conscious, purpose-driven entrepreneur will go through. And like I said in the first video, as I sort of recapped all of the different phases, it is such a pleasure and such a privilege and an honor to be able to coach and help heal conscious, purpose-driven entrepreneurs. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to start to see emerging patterns that show up as people move through these different stages. It's reassuring and it gives hope and brings light to the end of the tunnel for all of us as we see that there are patterns, there are strategies, there are consistent milestones that everyone experiences as they move through these stages. And I'm so excited to bring these to you because it can really be so helpful to know, where am I at in all of this? What do I have to look forward to? How far have I come? How much more is there? And so these videos will help you sort of wrap your head around where you're at in the process, what to anticipate, when to know that you're moving into the next stage, even in some cases, how long to expect these stages to last, and when to know that you are finally getting close to sort of the finish line, even though there really is never a finish line, but there is milestones where we break through to the next level and we experience greater joy, greater abundance, greater manifestations, greater fulfillment, all the things we seek. So I did a previous video sort of recapping the 5 different stages. I will briefly run over them real quick today, but the purpose of today's video is really to dive into the wounded seeker and how to know if you are in the wounded seeker stage. So real quick, the 5 phases are: 1, the wounded seeker, the stage that you are in before you learn to invest in yourself, to reach out for help, before you realize you cannot do it alone, and you finally get someone to help you spot those pesky patterns that hang out in your blind spot. And again, I will dive deeper into what this stage looks like. The second stage is the unseen light worker. And the unseen light worker stage can last anywhere from 3 to 6 months. That is when you finally reach out, you start to get some help, you start to really heal those wounds that are holding you back. The third stage is the emerging light worker, where you're finally starting to be seen. You're finally peeking your head out of the hermit mode stage and starting to develop your gifts, your talents, starting to share yourself with the world. And that stage can last anywhere from 6 months to 2 years as you have moved through the healing stage and are really practicing and sharing your gifts. And that is required. You must share your gifts for them to grow. The fourth stage is the shining light worker. And this is right around the 2-year, anywhere from the 2-year to the 8-year mark. Of course, that's a long phase, but we are continuing to heal because the healing will never end. But there is a strong level of confidence where we are shining our light, we are being seen. And in that process, as we continue to share our gifts, they will continue to grow. And so your light becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. And that is a fun stage to be in. We have moved through a lot of the shadow work. We are now enjoying the healing process, enjoying life, seeing the evidence of our gifts, and our light is being reflected back to us, which just ever increases the brightness of our light. And so that shining light worker stage, while it can be a long stage, it is a fun and enjoyable stage. And then finally, when we hit sort of that 8 to 10-year mark, we have reached mastery. We are the synchronized master. In that 5th stage, we are no longer triggered to an extent that it takes us down. We are very much a master of our mental state, of our vibrational state, of our manifesting abilities. We are a synchronized master, which means we are primarily in flow. We are ebbing and flowing. We are maybe even stepping into greater and greater levels of that purpose we initially found, or maybe even evolving into new purposes and gifts and businesses, right? We are here to be masters of our reality, of our gifts, of our being, as well as our purpose, which makes us conscious, purpose-driven entrepreneurs. Okay, so what does it mean to be the wounded seeker? Sort of that pre-phase. that first initial awakening stage. Maybe you've gone through the dark night of the soul, or if you had a spontaneous awakening, you are becoming aware of energy, or you're already aware of energy, but you're still not quite aware of what is truly holding you back. And as you know, if you follow this channel, we talk a lot about something called complex trauma. It is also known as the human condition. It is conditioning, it is programming. These are the things, the blocks and the wounds that hang out in our subconscious or in our blind spot that require someone else to help you see them. And part of a trauma response is this belief that we have to do it alone. It is very common for the spiritual beings, for light workers, for heart-centered beings, for conscious beings to believe that we have to do it alone. But surprise, surprise, ding, 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 that is a trauma response, that we as human beings are built for connection, that we cannot heal these wounds without the compassionate observer. And as long as we continue to believe that we have to do it alone, we will have these blocks that hang out in our subconscious and our blind spots that will hold us back. So some things you might experience in this stage are frustration, confusion, the feeling of being stuck, the feeling of taking baby steps towards purpose or towards healing or towards the full expression of your light being, but never really feeling like you've made significant strides towards it. Now, because of that, you might experience depression, anxiety. And again, like I said, the dark night of the soul is a hallmark of sort of the beginning of these stages, or even as a result of being stuck in this stage for too long. This, of course, will also come with disease or dis-ease in the body, because the body holds the key, the body keeps the score, and any stuck energy, blockages, will create a backup, right? And I liken it to when we first start healing, it's like pulling a cork out of a bottle, that we release all of this stored energy, this blockage, these blockages that are in our body that relieve our energy and our passion, our gifts. You have gifts, you have something special. You are made perfectly imperfect for your purpose, but they're all buried beneath these wounds that cannot heal without the compassionate witness of the other, and somatic healing therapies. That's why talk therapy alone does not work. Again, the body keeps the score. The body is the key to healing. Somatic healing is required with a compassionate witness, right? Oftentimes in this stage, it will feel like things are falling apart. We come to realize that the path that they told us that would solve all of our problems, or the 3D path of getting an education, getting a good job, getting married, having the family, buying the house, buying the car, or owning the stuff, we come to realize that this isn't going to work, that we're still not happy. We still have that deep desire for something that we cannot quite put our finger on. And that's why this stage is called the wounded seeker, because we very much seek something that we cannot quite understand. And it is the wounding that keeps us in the seeking. We continue to seek for something outside of us to make us feel better, whether it's an accomplishment of the milestone on that path that I just mentioned, or it's a guru or tarot cards or astrology. We're looking for answers outside of ourselves, not realizing that everything that you seek is within you. The answers are within you. The answers have to come from within you. And that is where the somatic healing with a compassionate observer will allow you to go in and hold that safe place for you to go within and to find that healing, to relieve that trauma, or to reprogram the conditioning that has been holding you back. Many times the perfectionist will be part of this path, or even the crumbling of the perfectionist, right? The perfectionist has desired to grip for control, to keep everything under control. We tend to be hyper vigilant. We're gripping the steering wheel of life, believing that we somehow have any semblance of control or keeping things under control. And really, it is a hallmark of this stage for everything to start falling apart, to start to show us that we cannot control this. We cannot control life. And in fact, the over excessive need for control and the hypervigilance is what's creating disease in our life and in our body. In fact, that will often lead to shutdown or a feeling of an inability to cope with life or anything that life brings us anymore. Sometimes that will create hermit mode, and sometimes that can be disguised as, spiritual healing, but healing should take months or maybe at most a year. It does not need to be perpetual. If you find yourself perpetually in hermit mode, then there is again a blockage that is asking to be healed. Oftentimes the stage will come along with self-sabotage or people pleasing or over giving. Maybe we desire to help people, but we do it in such an aggressive, masculine, pushy way that we find we're met with resistance. We may overgive to the point of hurting ourselves. We are people pleasers and trying not to rock the boat. And in the effort not to rock the boat or to keep people happy, we give too much and we end up hurting ourselves. We give to people who don't want our help or don't need our help. And we end up overextending ourselves and hurting ourselves and self-abandoning and not showing up for ourselves. Oddly enough, we want to give, and yet we are unable to receive. We don't take care of ourselves or show up for ourselves. And in that self-abandonment, we have also an inability to receive help from others. Again, that belief that we have to do it all on our own is, again, a trauma response. It's a hallmark of this stage. We can feel that we carry the weight of the world. The burden of trying to figure out this problem alone will cause, often it shows up in the shoulders where we can have a lot of tension and hypervigilance, again, creating disease in the body, dis-ease in your life. We can sometimes feel that people are not safe or the world is not safe. We struggle with relationships. We may feel that we are not enough or others are not enough or the world is not enough. But again, we're constantly seeking for a solution to these challenges. We'll often feel sort of a juxtaposition. I want relationships, but I fear people. I desire to make things better. I desire for connection, but I'm perpetually in hermit mode. It is the opposite end of the extreme, and we tend to swing from one to the other, and we struggle to find the balanced middle ground. Again, we are always looking for answers outside of us. We can sort of feel that we have this hamster wheel of constant thought, constant perpetual thinking about the problem and how to solve the problem and what's the solution to the problem and how do I find the answer to the problem, the seeking again, the wounded seeker, right? Looking for answers and never quite being able to put our finger on what that answer is or what it is that we're seeking in general. Confusion is, again, a hallmark of this phase. Confusion of what holds us back, confusion on how to solve the problem. Our nervous system is exhausted because that hypervigilance, that constant seeking is an overactive parasympathetic nervous system state. No, I said that wrong. Sympathetic nervous system state. It is constant fight or flight, for a better way of putting that, more tangible and easy to understand. That can often also create adrenal fatigue because we're constantly stuck in that on position. The hypervigilance, the constant need for control, the constant need for accomplishment or achieving or overgiving or doing. It's very masculine, and it is a highly acidic environment in the body. When we're constantly stuck in that fight or flight mechanism, it can also show up as fawn or freeze. It's the 4 Fs: fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Fawning and freezing is people giving or people pleasing, over giving, just, passive, easy going and not really showing up for yourself. And then of course, fight and flight are pretty self-explanatory, but either way, this is very draining and taxing for the body. The nervous system is tired, it's shot. And many times people will just throw things like caffeine or exercise or running at it. And really that just continues to drain the body. We often in this stage, we know that there is more to life. That's what causes that seeking, but we just can't figure out how to achieve it. We know that there's something more to life. There's something that we are meant to do that matters, but we can't figure out how to achieve it. We know that we want to create a fulfilling life. We seek joy and peace and calm and happiness and fulfillment. But again, it is just seemingly out of our grasp, no matter how hard we try. We know that we're here to do something big, something that matters. We have purpose. But again, we don't understand our talents or our gifts. And sometimes people even struggle to remember what makes them happy at all. They struggle to remember who they were before the world changed them. Who was I when I was a child, before everything, all of that conditioning and programming and trauma came in? Who was I? What did I enjoy? What is my value? What is my worth? And we struggle in this phase to understand our purpose. We struggle to even remember what we're passionate about or what brings us joy, even sometimes. We're not certain we do have a purpose. We're not certain that we do have gifts. We question, am I valuable? Am I an exception to the rule? Am I the only one who doesn't have value and worth? Am I the only one who doesn't have a purpose? And so continues the seeking and the wounds that keep us seeking. We struggle to remember even what we need. Our needs, our basic core needs are questioned. We doubt ourselves. We have self-doubt, and high levels of toxic self-blame can be a part of this phase as well. Again, the general theme is not enough. I'm not enough. The world's not enough. There's not enough. In some way, the not enoughness will show up. And it especially shows up in your finances, in your support network, in your resources of any kind. We struggle to ask for what we need. We struggle to understand our value and to ask for what we're worth. Again, it shows up in relationship with people, relationship with money. Maybe we spend it too quickly, or we sort of have a negative relationship with money. We have a negative relationship with abundance. Some of us might feel like asking for money is not spiritual, or there's something wrong with it. There's a moral challenge to that. And yet, on the flip side, because we can bounce from one extreme to the other, we may say, yeah, money's great, but it slips through my fingers. It's gone in a heartbeat. We have a poor relationship with money in one way or the other. When money could be our friend, it is meant to be an asset and a resource. It is a tool, and we lack the understanding of how to work with it and have a positive, energetic relationship with it. We believe in manifestation, or we want to believe in manifestation, but we don't consciously use it or understand how to do it, right? We don't realize that we are creators and we're manifesting all the time, but we are manifesting on autopilot, more of the same from a pool of limiting beliefs that have been with us most of our life since our childhood. We question whether or not manifestation is real, or whether or not it will work for us, because we have struggled to see the evidence of it so far. And in fact, most of our manifestations are echoes of the past and continue to show us the life that we do not want instead of the life we want. Many people in this stage want to be their own boss. They want to start their own business. They desire the freedom, the sovereignty, the autonomy, and yet they are so stuck in the fear of that transition, the fear of loss, the fear of hardship, the fear of financial struggle, the fear that they will be abandoned, the fear that God, source, divine, creator, universe won't show up for them, that somehow they won't be cared for. They worry about food and bills and all of the different support networks or systems or resources that inherently are our abundance birthright. But it is too difficult in this stage without that healing to be able to embrace the fact that we will be supported and cared for. Finally, they fear authority. They fear the system. They fear being trapped. We fear, I hate to say they, because I was in this stage, and everything that I teach comes from experience and having experienced it for myself as well now for my clients. But most of all, we fear our wounds and our triggers. And in fact, those big giant fears that keep us stuck are the very thing that will allow us to move into that next stage, into the healing, yet still unseen light worker. Did I say that right? Yes, I did. Okay, I know that's a big one. This is the biggest, hardest phase to move through, because as soon as you reach out for help, whether it's me or someone else, it does not matter. There are two factors that are required. One, somatic healing. We must work with the body. The body keeps the score. The blockages are in the body. And two, a compassionate witness. You cannot do it alone. Where two or more are gathered, source creator energy is amplified. You must have that other person to hold that space for you. And in fact, most of the blockages, the conditioning, the programming, they got stuck. The traumas are stuck and lodged in your body because in whatever experience that you went through, there was not a compassionate witness to hold space for you, to hold that safe, energetic, vibrational state. And we can say it in spiritual terms, or we can say it in psychology terms. Your nervous system needed to be able to entrain to another nervous system that said, you are accepted, you are loved, you are safe here, it's going to be okay, you are strong, you are powerful, you can move through this. And the key is, they didn't need to verbally say it, they needed to physically say it. They needed to be there for you. Their presence, their love, their compassion, their understanding, their empathy is necessary for your healing. Okay. A little bit long, so I'm going to break real quick. Please do make sure you share this with anybody who you know might resonate with it or be able to heal from it, because your purpose is my purpose, and that is why I'm here. And we can all do this together. This is the human condition. We are all experiencing some form of, whether it's complex trauma or just conditioning and programming. There are keys, there are things that work now. And I can tell you, I've tried everything. I've tried hypnosis and QHHT and meditation and affirmation and therapy and psychology and all the things. And the only thing that worked for me was something called brain spotting. I do brain spotting. There's also EMDR. There's somatic therapy or somatic healing therapies. I have an interview with a beautiful woman by the name of Leandra Rose coming out. She offers a beautiful somatic therapy modality. There are others I'm bringing on the channel soon. So I want you to know this is not about me. This is about us healing the collective and bringing light workers out to shine brightly, to do the things that we were meant to do, that we were designed to do. You're perfectly imperfect for your purpose, and you are here to help assist in bringing about the new earth and creating heaven on earth. And so that's why I'm here for you. All right. I love you, my friends. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you on the next video where we talk about the unseen light worker and that stage and the hallmarks of it. All right. Take care, my friends.